O'clock. We're into the final hour. I hope the presentations are going well. I've seen some really interesting, very informative presentations from some of our guests, which is fascinating. It's now time to talk about Dulwich College Shanghai Puxi. So I am joined by David Ingram, who I'll bring in and introduce now. Good evening, David. How are you?
Good evening, Sam. Really good and enthusiastic to kind of share about our college.
Excellent. Well, give me 2 seconds and I will get your presentation onto screen. Give me two ticks. I'm just pressing some buttons here and we should be good to go in a moment. So I think we are ready to rock. So I will get myself out of your way. If you just let me know when you're ready for the next slide, I'll take things from there. Good luck.
Thank you. Well, welcome everyone. I'm proud to be the founding head of college at Dulwich College Shanghai Puxi. And the aim of my presentation today is to give you a feel for what it's like to work at our college. As you can see from my background, we are set in a beautiful green environment on the outskirts of Shanghai. We are the newest and the smallest of the international schools, but we're a school that punches above our weight. Our IB scores are the second highest in China. And if you take the China School Awards, which have been running for 4 years, we've been nominated as finalists more than any other school. So we're really proud of our aspirational culture. Next slide, please, Sam. So the most important thing to know about our school is that we are led by our vision and values, and we're fully aligned with the vision of EIM. Leslie Meyer referred to this at the beginning of today's session about living worldwide. So we're looking for educators who are in this more than just the teaching and learning in the classroom, but see a bigger world picture. And that centers on kind of making a difference and being a positive impact on the community. So Sam, if we could move on to our next slides, and these are unique to our college. These are our values, which we're going to develop together with our students, teachers, and parents. And it's very much, this isn't what we do, this is how we do it. You know, we aim high because we're aspirational. We work hard because we care about what we do and we want to get better. That kind and respectful is a really important piece about, you know, kind of diversity, equity, inclusion, respect for the environment. And I've referenced making a difference together. And I'm really highlighting this because both in our admissions process with students and our recruitment process for staff, value alignment is our starting point. We are looking for people who can buy into the culture. If we could move on slides, please. We are a community-based school. Our college community is the strength of Dulwich College Shanghai Puxi. I'm here on stage at Founders Day with our founding parents. So we started with 99 students and we've kind of grown year on year, you know, to a school of between 400 and 500. And this really close-knit community that's just going to weather the storm of COVID. And so again, you know, if you're looking for a huge school, which has been around for years and years and years, we may not be the right school for you. But if you're looking for a vibrant community where individuals are known and celebrated and that, you know, kind of teachers and students and parents kind of feel part of something bigger because they're known as individuals, then we're definitely the school for you. Next slide, please. The Master of Dulwich in London always says a Dulwich education starts with getting things right in the classroom. So, you know, we are proud of the quality of teaching and learning. And when we go through the interview process with prospective teachers, we are looking for colleagues who are experienced and passionate about kind of educating. And that will be kind of a key line of questioning in the interview process. Next slide. We're also looking for people who are enthusiastic about working in China. Shanghai is one of the great cities of the world, and many of our teachers kind of live right in which we provide for first teaching, but celebrating Chinese culture, language is a big part of our curriculum. Although we're an international school, we really want to kind of celebrate the context in which we're set. Next slide, please. So what do our values mean to you as a teacher if you were going to come and work at our school? Well, it's about being open to learning, definitely being collaborative. One of the things that makes our school special is professional generosity, kind of the expectation that we support each other. Perhaps having a bad day, do you know what, I'm going to cover your duty, or about sharing pedagogical strategy, or kind of sharing kind of planning together. The idea that we're all responsible for making school a good place, and about enjoying the opportunities that come. Next slide. And I think this slide gives you a feeling or window a little bit on the culture. This is what we would expect for our students, and this is what we demonstrate to our staff as well. So you can join international schools are busy places. There's a lot going on, and I make it very clear to colleagues that it's okay not to know everything straight away, to make mistakes, and we have a very high retention rate, and a lot of that is a reflection of the positive culture in the school. Next slide. We expect you to get involved, and you'll have got a sense of that already. This is staff doing beach cleaning in Shanghai. But, if you join us in junior school, senior school, you're going to be accompanying one of our residential visits. There is a high service element of that. And we're looking for people who, that resonates with. Next slide. I've kind of shared we're a beautiful campus, and if we move on to the next slide, we'll just kind of run through these quickly. That means we're very green. We've got amazing bird life, amazing opportunities for students, particularly younger students, to learn outside. Next slide. We get flocks of egrets come kind of every autumn would be an example, and the children track the birds that come. We take part in the great backyard bird count. But it makes it a lovely environment to work in. Yeah, great facilities. So you've seen our swimming pool. We'll go on to the theatre, carry on. But it's the teachers who make it. So, it's lovely having world-class facilities. So a key reflection point is, we're people-centred. And you see staff engaged in team building there. Professional development is a really important part of what we do. So we're looking for colleagues who are keen to grow, who don't know it all, but are always looking to improve and develop that practice. Next slide. We appoint people because of their expertise, experience, and we expect them to make a contribution. And I think a key kind of message is about doing that in the right way that brings people with you, and again, that's kind of a reflection of being kind and respectful. Carry on. Next slide. We recognize, joining a busy international school where there are high standards and high expectations, there will be ups and downs, and a really important part of what we do is a coaching culture. We believe in the importance of one-to-one meetings, and that kind of personal development pathway for each teacher, and want to give you a strong sense of that professional growth and professional development which has made our schools successful. Next slide. Okay, so we've come to the end of the presentation. There are lots of things that I would like to kind of celebrate about our school. I talked about us being award-winning. We've won awards for diversity, equity, and inclusion, for sustainability, because those very much align with our values. We're also kind of recognized for our work with AI and kind of technology. So again, that's something that we look for, not just in ed tech teachers, but in early years teachers, in mathematics teachers, in English teachers as well. So I hope you've got a real sense of the college. I believe we've got some time now, some good amount of time to answer any questions.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, David. That was really interesting. I'll say again, we were talking backstage about how beautiful that campus is. That backdrop you've got behind you is absolutely stunning. It's certainly not what you'd expect when you Shanghai comes to mind. You think of this big, busy, bustling city, but it's like you've got in green space there. Running through the chat, I can't actually see any questions, but I might throw you some of the more common ones that we've seen across some of the presentations. What are you looking for in terms of sort of experience? Are there any particular prerequisites around age or years of experience or any of those kind of visa qualifications? If maybe you could map out what the starting point is there.
Yeah, so I mean, basically, the expectations for visas are, that people have had 2 years teaching experience at least. Sometimes we look for more of that. They need a university degree and a teaching qualification that gives them, qualified teacher experience. There is a requirement in China that colleagues teaching primary or early years classroom come from what is designated in the immigration service as an English speaking country. Now, I would encourage colleagues to reach out to our HR team to seek clarification on that. So that's a kind of a China immigration requirement, not a Dulwich requirement.
That's something that comes up a lot with our partner schools in China is some of those legislative requirements that you wouldn't necessarily choose yourself, but they are what they are, right? It's not something that you brought in yourself. Really good question from Nicholas, and actually this is one I've not heard before. How do you deal with generative AI so far across secondary school? It's becoming a real big topic when you've got students who are turning in work that has clearly been pumped through Chat GPT. How are you working around that at Dulwich?
Yeah, so look, I mean, look, we're embracing it, and what I would say is this: we won Best Use of Technology in the TS International School Awards, and we won Best Use of AI at the Global EdTech Awards. That starts with an understanding around what's ethical, how to use those tools in a responsible way. If students aren't using AI, I would be challenging why not. And that's not to say they should be using it for everything, but they need to use it well and they need to use it appropriately. But what we're really kind of finding is the need to be critical in thinking, to ask intelligent questions, to understand how we can put in an input that is going to get a better output from AI. And that goes hands in hand with turning these devices off. When we have our week without walls, we're going to no device. During the day, students aren't allowed their phones out. Junior school students aren't allowed phones. So we're embracing AI. We're a champion school for something called ASC, which supports with kind of pastoral care, almost like predicting issues before they become a problem. We use Sentry Tech to provide more personalized pathways. We have AI chatbots supporting students with AEN. So it's something that we kind of feel needs a proactive approach.
Yeah, that's great. I think that approach is absolutely right. You can embrace it or you can run away from it. So I think embracing it is clearly the right way to do it. In fact, the chap who asked the question has just said, it sounds like you've got some pretty robust systems you're building out. Thank you very much. So that's from Nicholas, who asked the AI question. There's another question circling around national qualifications, and I'm assuming you talked about teaching credentials. That would be UK QTS, a US state level teacher's license. Those are the kind of qualifications that we're looking for.
Yeah.
Perfect. Awesome. I hope that answers your question there. I've got a question around intern or assistant teachers. Are they kind of on your radar at the moment, your TAs?
Yeah, so we have a robust intern program, but that's for Chinese nationals only, really. It's really difficult to get internships in Shanghai. Yeah. We have assistant teachers as well, but that would be kind of Chinese nationals. I see Snow's questions there. Yes, we would. But
There you go.
what we'd be looking for is, kind of the kind of experience of teaching the relevant curriculum.
Of course, absolutely. Okay, we're running through these. I'm just scrolling back to look at any other questions we've got in there. There was one I saw earlier around how can we apply for the job. You can apply either through the Scroll platform or through Dulwich's careers page. I think that's where those jobs are both hosted. If you go to the school booth, have been listed, there's a button in the school booth that says view vacancies. That will take you off and you can start making your application there. So I hope that helps. We've got a question around any counselling positions. Do you have any social emotional counselling positions open currently, David?
We don't, not at Puxi, no. But I'm sure there are other colleges, so have a look at those. Do we have healthy cohorts for French as a foreign language? Probably the answer to that is we have tiny cohorts. So basically, Chinese and Spanish are our main foreign languages. We do offer French. That started last year, I believe, but we're talking about a small number of students. But we have made that commitment to French.
Excellent. Good stuff. Austin, who asked around the qualifications, is querying, would you consider Washington, D.C. teaching qualification to be a state level qualification? I would guess if that's a state level teacher's license, I think that's what we're referring to here.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, again, I'd kind of recommend reaching out to kind of our kind of HR team on that.
Absolutely. All right. We're running through the questions now. We've got another couple talking about, so there you go. David's just dropped the recruitment.shanghai at dulwich.org into the chat here. I want to tell us a little bit about living in Shanghai. I've been to Shanghai a few times. I loved it, to be honest. It's one of my favourite cities in China. What's your experience been, David?
Yeah, I've lived in Shanghai this is my 9th year now, and I love it. Shanghai is a city of 26 million, but it doesn't feel like that. I've also lived in Hong Kong, which seems, a little bit more crowded. I've lived in Singapore and kind of KL. So the thing about Shanghai is you've got this lovely mix between ultra modern and you'll have seen pictures of the kind of the Pudong side of the Bund, and then the classic and the evidence of that kind of international kind of settlement, the old French concession, and it's just such a charming combination. It's a city committed to green spaces and tree-lined avenues. It's the number one city for coffee shops in the world. It's got more coffee shops than anywhere else. There's a huge kind of espresso culture. And you've still got your French kind of bakeries and things like that. So it really does have something for everyone. I love it.
And from my experience, some of the best food in all of China, although that might not be the right thing to say. I'll probably offend someone somewhere by saying that, but I've never had a bad meal in Shanghai.
No, and it's a huge range. It's fantastic.
Excellent. Good stuff. All right. Well, look, I think we're pretty much at time now, David. So thank you very much for your time. That was a great presentation. Very interesting bits and pieces. I'm presuming you're heading back to the school booth where candidates will be able to come and learn more about Dulwich College Puxi. So I would encourage our attendees to go and networking, ask the questions, have the conversations, and good luck. Thanks again, David, for your time. Great presentation.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you all.
Thank you. All right.